The one thing that AI will never be able to replace is the very thing that makes us human. And that is, curiosity, imagination. If anything, we are really going to need people to connect with people to be able to get anything done. We are making ourselves more stupid by using the LMs for everything. And so when their cost goes up, we don't remember how to do things anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing like learning in real life. That is just from the neuroscience part of that, being with people and having connection and seeing and being able to ask questions. This is definitely how humans learn the best.
So welcome to a special episode of Marketing Meets Technology today, again with an SMX edition. And my guest today is a genuine pioneer in the SEO industry. It's Lisa Paasche. She built a Verve Search from scratch into one of Europe's most respected SEO and digital PR agencies with a team of over 50 people, more than 50 industry awards, which is crazy, by the way, and then best SEO agency 3 years running. And in 2017, she sold the agency to Omnicom Media Group, but she herself was also named Search Personality of the Year. And of course, she could never sit back. And so she started, you have to say the name. You have to say the name. I'm about to Actavision, which means real, true, genuine. And today she's working as a mentor and neuro leadership coach, helping other founders and leadership teams to grow successfully without burning out. And I think that is something that's truly, truly valuable. And she obviously has the experience how to work with teams and how to build a crazy successful agency. So there's something that I can only recommend. So she's honest, experienced, and with a rare eye for the humans behind the business. And that's something we also had in our pre-talk when we just talked before the intro. There's also, if you meet Lisa, you'll be amazed how fast you can get into an authentic connection with her. And I think that is one of the core strengths. And obviously, she knows a lot about neuroscience as well, and AI and the SEO industry. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. Oh my God, that chat before the program was so good. So I can't wait to do this.
That should have been a podcast as well.
Yeah, it should have been. It would have been like the XX one, because they would be talking about so many things.
That is so true. So what has your experience been with the SEO industry and AI, and especially your field of neuroscience happening, and how do you see the field?
So obviously I had a bit of a break after selling Verve, and I had a small stint into the stand-up comedy industry and did that for a while, which was a lot of fun because I'm always been interested in people. So although I've worked in SEO for like over 20 years, my interest was always humans and behavior and how to motivate them and how to help them, develop and do better. And so coming back into the kind of tech industry and now AI being such a big part of it, what is fascinating to me is just how fast things are going. So there's a lot of like similarities within SEO and AI. And also, can you please just know that AI, when we talk about AI, everyone talks about AI like it means the LLMs, but obviously there's so many different types of AI. But in this instance, we're talking about AI search and the LLMs and how that is evolving. Now, for me, I think it's just SEO, but in a different medium. There are some differences, of course. And for me, the biggest difference is that now digital PR and the trust metrics will be even more important. Not that they necessarily are right now. If anything, I feel like right now, AI search is a bit like SEO in 2009.
Oh, yeah.
Where citation and shit works. Like, what? But what I'm really interested in and what I'm concerned about is just what an impact AI has on people. And our world is getting smaller. So like we've known each other for quite a while, Timon, and I have always felt quite passionate about how much social media is impacting the world. And I remember, I think it was probably back in 2016 when everything was changing in the American politics. I was trying to get this big group of SEOs involved in helping make sure that things didn't go completely to shit, but it went anyway. But the interesting thing is that social media has for decades triggered us into wanting more, as in like we are basically slaves to dopamine of looking at Instagram, TikTok, etc. Now we're getting AI in this as well, where we're having such deep conversation with LLMs, sharing our problems, sharing our views, getting the input, getting it to write stuff for us. We are making our world a bit smaller, and we're not getting enough connection, which means that from a neuroscience point of view, we are more and more living in our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight, where we cannot think logically or in the future because our prefrontal cortex disengages. So what we actually need, and what is the answer to this, is actually we need to go into parasympathetic nervous system, where we rest and digest, and we engage the prefrontal cortex, where we can plan and see things forward and think of consequences. But to do that, we really need more connection. We need more human connection, not less. And I'm a bit concerned that we are going very fast forward into a world where we are not aware how much is hijacking our nervous system.
Then let's talk about something that fits perfectly into this question, what you just said. So a lot of companies are now laying off people. And I know you had an amazing team at Verve. People and agencies, service providers, and all companies are like, oh yeah, we've got Claude now. We've got ChatGPT. Now we don't need employees anymore. What do you think about this? And do you think that will work, even though if you say, okay, Claude will 5x in the next 2 years in quality?
No, I really don't. Because the one thing that AI will never be able to replace is the very thing that makes us human. And that is, curiosity, imagination, connection, the senses, the movement, the will, all of this that makes us human. We need this. And so cutting the people out of the work, I think this is gonna backfire so badly. And there's loads of things that it can help with. Processes, frameworks, like making things go faster, sure, but you're still gonna need people. If anything, we are really gonna need people to connect with people to be able to get anything done. If not, we will end up like that movie we talked about in the pre-chat with Bruce Willis, where no one is moving anywhere and no one knows how to connect at all, and that will be terrible. But I do think that also, I think we are awfulizing this a bit. Like, in my opinion, this race especially with the LLMs like Claude and ChatGPT, they are on borrowed time. The dot-com boom that happened, this is going to happen again. Those shareholders are going to need some money back, and they are losing money every day. So it's going to become really expensive to use AI for a lot of these things. And it's probably not going to be the same players.
That is exactly something that German, you know him probably, Pip Klöckner, obviously from SEO Oktoberfest. He said that as well. He said, like, don't be fooled. Like, the AI is highly subsidized right now, all these tokens.
Yeah.
And once you've gotten hooked onto this and you're really using it every day, and they hike up the prices 5x, your cost efficiency looks very different. Yeah. And obviously, this race is still going to go down, and the price is still going to go down. This is like servers right now. They tend to get cheaper with more power. But still, if you look at Google Workspace, it used to cost like $5. Now we're at $16. And they just increased it, and we couldn't get out. So it is kind of like you have to think about this. And then at some point, and I've seen people using millions of tokens to replace work that has been done by humans. At some point, it doesn't make that much sense. But if it's the efficiency part, I agree 100%. Like, coding has gotten much faster. making presentations has gotten faster. It's stupid stuff that we don't want to do. But to be honest, like when you get in your car, you don't think about how the car works. You just drive the car to work, right? Or you drive the car for shopping. And this was different 50 years ago. You had to like turn on the car, check everything, and get the thing started. And even before that, you had to find the horses and ride them to the.
Yeah.
So this is normal technology advance, and I think some things that we've been doing as SEOs and we've been doing as marketers and service providers, they will vanish, and we will do new things on top of the things, and provide service with humans and AI.
Yeah, exactly. And it will be totally different providers. Do you remember when I first started like working in the internet industry, it was Alta Vista. Who the fuck remembers them?
I
Or
remember.
Lycos, or like there were whole different players. So everything's going to change. But also, if you think about it, how we are making ourselves more stupid by using the LMs for everything. And so when their cost goes up, we don't remember how to do things anymore.
Yeah.
And also AI as it is doesn't have the curiosity and imagination as a human. It creates stuff based on what already exists.
Yes.
And so for ideas and like I use LLMs a lot for criticizing my own thinking or like strategizing or whatever, but coming up with new things and especially things that will resonate with other people. Just look at LinkedIn. LinkedIn is now just AI talking to AI.
Yeah, it's
and
AI-Slop.
Yeah, it's just everything is in one sentence and says the kind of same thing, and then people comment using AI, and like it's not much point. I'm not reading anything on there anymore.
I agree.
So is it actually valuable then?
And
I think
I also think if I may criticize LinkedIn as well, it's always the same style. Oh, my biggest mistake in my business career was this, but at the end, give me a lead. I'm amazing. That's it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's so fake. That's my biggest problem. I remember when Facebook was fake, but this LinkedIn is a new level of fakeness. It's really like it's incredible. Like, but obviously we post on LinkedIn as well. But it's kind of I agree. I find it quite boring, and I think LinkedIn has to do something against it. By the way, Reddit did something which I found really fascinating. So we talked about citations, right? Citations work really well. So obviously, like in certain brand areas, when you look at the data, Reddit is one of the most cited platforms where the LLM gets their information from, which makes sense. It's a great platform. So obviously, what did all SEOs do? Well, they started creating accounts and started posting on Reddit and doing citations. Obviously, this was 100% foreseeable. And what I find really interesting, and we've been impacted by this as well, actually, Reddit has aggressively changed the rules and aggressively cut down on AI postings and users, and deleted a lot of accounts that did not seem as real users, and deleted a lot of comments. And I found this really interesting because actually it makes the platform better.
Yeah.
It keeps the platform alive. And LinkedIn should probably do something similar.
And this actually fascinates me. Do you remember like back in 2016, we had all these chats about how to figure out whether something was fake news or not? And we were talking about we could easily do that by doing the opposite, like what the search engines do, and find where their original content and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Like there should be some kind of metric for measuring the likelihood of something being a real conversation or real connection. I think this is why I think podcasting will do so well. Is because it's much harder to do that when you can see, and video podcasting specifically.
Yeah.
I think it is such a good channel. And I think the AI search for trust, and I think this is the major difference with AI search and SEO, is that AI search has a more capability to try to figure out a way of measuring trust in a different way.
Yeah.
And so, back in 2007, I started talking about how social media would influence SEO and how that should be a trust metric, and everyone laughed. But, it isn't just about links or Reddit or citations. It's about what things are you doing that is real? and how can AI figure out what are the most real metrics? And so if someone, it kind of goes back to, do you remember Rel-Author? When Google made us all fucking tag that shit. We're like, okay, we'll do that for you.
Yeah.
And I found Rel-Author super interesting because that was the indication that they were not only looking at sites as a ranking, like a page rank for pages and sites, but also for authors. Now, that makes a lot more sense. So if you're now talking about trust metrics and someone being on a podcast and being on social media, it becomes a lot easier to see who are the real people and who are saying what, and can you measure whether that kind of trust metric of that person is higher, and therefore would that be part of the visibility scoring on AI search?
It actually made so much sense because obviously, like, if you're someone who's on, let's say, for instance, LinkedIn, or you have a big blog and you write something somewhere else, and this can be connected, then obviously you have a different trust factor. Because the biggest problem I see now with AI is they need oracles, like oracles which tell the truth. And this is very hard, and it's always been a hard problem for Google as well. So how do you know how the weather is today in real life, right? You need a connector. Or how the soccer game is what's the real score? What is the real score right now? And you need these oracles. And obviously, like in big things, it's very easy. Like weather is a big thing. World Cup games is a big thing. But then in smaller things, it's very hard. Like Timon and Lisa, are they real? That is a question, right? What is their expertise? Have they ever been on a conference, right? And obviously, like Google has made this very smart, and they didn't need us for Rel-Author a few years later because they figured it out themselves in the knowledge graph, which is very smart. Very smart how they did that. I still do not know how they do that with very common names, but somehow they do that.
Yeah, but do you remember before that? So I was obsessed with this. So before that, when they started scanning all the books in the world, like that was like a big project.
The Gutenberg project.
Yeah, there is indication that they were actually able to see how someone writes or how someone talks and create the identity of that person. So that person being the same person and then matching it up. So this is what they were missing with Rel-Author, and I think why they involved it. And that confirmed a lot of the theory, I think, that then made them go, oh, actually, this makes sense. And there is a identity print in how you write and how you talk. But AI fucks that up.
Oh, yeah. So that is a very interesting reverse question then. So I talked about this last year at a Polish conference. I'm saying that in images and also text, there's watermarks from AI.
Yeah.
I understand that everybody says like the double hyphen is the watermark. No, that's not what I mean. No. It's very easy for an AI to put a watermark into something which we'll never notice because we as humans cannot understand the pattern. But now what you're saying makes much more sense. They can see that there is no pattern. So they can probably detect AI text super easy, but they can see that if I write a text with AI, they will see that this is not my normal type how I write because it's very well structured, has all the commas and correct sentencing, which I would never use. But then they would 100% know that this was not me.
Yeah.
Is that the way?
Yeah, that will definitely be one way, but also what it will be more. The more we use AI, the harder it will be to detect real authenticity of that person. And this is the really sad thing. It's because, like Kurt Cobain said, he said, "I'd rather be hated for who I am than to be loved for who I'm not."
Yeah,
and
so true.
what we're driving towards is that we're creating these personalities or the way of writing or all the things that we think will make us perfect. But the more perfect we try to be, the unhappier we fucking get. Because being authentic, like representing yourself as you and being accepted as you, is the real only way of happiness, in my opinion.
Yeah. And to get the connection to SEO and for rankings.
Yeah. Sorry, that was like a real personal one at the end. But I think it will become really easy to spot what is you and what is AI, but also it will become harder to create a footprint if you use too much AI. That it won't be as much of like, are you talking in a way that is smart? Are you authentic? I think AI will also need to find who is true. The same as Google has always done with is this actually dodgy link, or has someone bought this, or is this genuine? Is this actually a signal, or is this bought?
And I think you're absolutely right. You said something before which was very interesting, where you said we all humans are programmed to identify authenticity, and we have a very weird, like, spidey sense. We have a tingling, or we have this very strong sensor as soon as we feel something is off. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure everybody who's listening understands this, what I'm saying, like this gut feeling, this certain sense something's off. And what I see right now with all my friends who are obviously also in AI and things, they all see videos created on Instagram, and they see text created, and everybody's telling me, I see it for 1 second and I have the feeling it's AI. I just swipe over it. Right? I don't even read it. And I think that is something that's very interesting. We as humans are already that good at identifying this.
Yeah,
so the slightest offness. And I mean, obviously, like, Google has let the AI spam thing run for 1 year, maybe, like the creation of content creation, or maybe 1.5 years. I think they have enough data to identify everything. And we shouldn't be as stupid to think we can easily game them, because they have one of the best models with Gemini as well. And I think they're pretty smart. They also know that content created before 2022 is probably real, and content after that probably not. So we have to think like them, and they always think in big data sets. And what you just said, I think, is the biggest key to identifying. So through the Gutenberg project, they understand how people write to identify them without Rel-Author. So in reverse, they can always identify that this is not the human that had put the name beneath this, and thus it's AI, and thus it gets no rankings. Yeah,
exactly. So authenticity in whatever form is always better. And this is again why doing podcasts and stuff and social media, and like even like you were saying on Instagram, if someone's doing a video and they're clearly reading off, or it doesn't sound like, you already know that it doesn't sound like a real human speaking, or it doesn't sound like it's actual, it's genuine. But that you can understand people wanting to it's all the research and in Google or in the LLMs is one thing, but people are more bothered, like they're more focused on gaming the algorithm in which is a very different thing, because then you're kind of gaming emotions of whoever is watching, which is that's a darker side of the internet, in my opinion. Yeah, because that shit can go down really badly.
And it kind of works right now, but it won't work long term. So I'm really keen on hearing what your thoughts are on what brands should do. But before that, a way to get really meaningful connections and where you can actually meet people is obviously SMX Advanced. So you're speaking at SMX Advanced, and tell me why conferences still matter in the time of where you can ask Claude anything and it will answer anything.
Oh, there's nothing like learning in real life. That is just from the neuroscience part of that, being with people. And having connection and seeing and being able to ask questions. This is definitely how humans learn the best. And also, I think because we are doing fewer things in real life, I think it is so important to do this. And SMX is always lovely, and I'm really excited to come back and do it. That was actually my very first conference, was SMX in 2007. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Oh yeah, that is a long time. That was in the Hilton, I think, in the Hilton Hotel.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think there's something really special about being at a conference and not seeing the person on YouTube, but seeing the person in real life, seeing them in 3D, like real 3D, and then having to be there, present, hearing it in 1 times the speed, not 2x. And then also, I think one of the things people misunderstand is the engagement afterwards, especially something like SMX Advanced, which is a very, very close-knit group. So it's a small conference, right? It's a very expert-focused conference. You can actually go up to Lisa or other speakers there and grab them, talk to them. But also the other attendees are all super high level. So it's like these connections in between. So you've heard something being said, and then you can ask somebody else, what do you think about that? And they say, well, this is my perspective on this. And then you get another perspective. And then it forms kind of like this new thing you've learned. And I think that is this, you cannot do that by a course.
Honestly, like when I first started in SEO, it was like 2005, and I started going to conferences there 2006, 2007. And the difference in my skill level once I started going, and because everyone is so bloody lovely in there, I have missed this industry so much because the willingness to share and help, I have in every stage of my business, when I've been stuck or I'm like, what the hell, what's going on? There have been loads of SEOs. I've been like, okay, let me try this, or have you tried that? I think that this community, the SEO community, is a special kind of community where people genuinely help, and they're like, most of them don't act like rock stars, and therefore will be very happy to chat. And I'm very happy to chat to anyone. So you will have to stop me chatting. That's the problem.
I actually agree. My first conference must have been somewhere, I think, either 2007 the Hilton or 2008 in the Hilton or something like that. Very close around that time, and that also took me to go to every conference I could go to. Yeah, and it really skyrocketed my knowledge and also my career. To be honest, like it was easily it kicked me off like that. I could have never done that just by sitting in the office. So yes, thank you for reminding me. That's actually a very good point.
No, I started the first conference 2007 was the first time I spoke. 2009 is when I started my own agency. There is no way I could have done that without the knowledge that I've learned at those conferences, for sure.
Yeah, now let's use that knowledge and help some brands. What should brands do to actually increase their search authority? What do you think is like the things they should do right now in this AI era to really be increase authority and be more authentic?
It is like, it's the thing that I'm always banged on about. I started as a tech SEO and then got obsessed with links and how links were done. I was like, guys, we don't need to be doing it this shit way. Why are you buying these links or exchanging this? Like, there is a better way of doing it. So I still believe that coming up with ideas for your brand that isn't trying to sell your brand, that is basically engaging people. The AI, the internet, LLMs are still run on the internet, is finding the information on the internet. And to be able to get that authority, you need to be there. But where you are matters. So my view have always been, instead of fighting 100 duck-sized horses, I rather fight one horse-sized duck. And so I would rather try to get coverage and to get those links and that mention. And now with AI search, it isn't as focused on the links, which means that it should be more doable to get coverage from the big news sites, the relevant sites for your industry. And again, the ideas and stuff for this, like for me, my passion was always the creative campaigns and the ideas to think of. But now you should also really think about the brand overall in terms of, where else are you? Like things like if you're a brand that podcasting works for, that's great. That's another authority building. Obviously, socials is about engagement. Any content that gets engagement will always improve authority, both in SEO and AI search. I refuse to call it GEO, by the way.
I love that. Yeah, that discussion is horrible, by the way. GEO, I don't think is a good term for this, and I don't think it helps the industry. I also believe that in 2 or 3 years, we will have it not being separated. It will just be the same again, and will be one. And we'll probably call it SEO because it just makes more sense. But if I would call it anything, I would prefer to call it AI search because I think AI search is correct. But I see a lot of emails with GEO. So let's see where it goes. But so coming back on that fighting duck-sized horses, how big do you think is the impact of one really big publishing house playing your story versus small ones? So The Guardian is obviously super big in the UK. In the US, you'd have like the Washington Post, the New York Post, things like that. But they will be obviously 10x harder to get into, maybe even 100x harder to get into.
No, they're not. That's bullshit. It's only so this is the view that, and I have had a lot of people tell me, it's like, oh, it's a lot harder since you left. I'm like, that's convenient, mate. but we had at Verve, we had one gambling client, so not poker, but casino client, that we got coverage for on the Tonight Show. Like actual featured on the Tonight Show with the logo, the campaign printed out. Like that should not be possible for SEO campaign, but it was possible. It is, if the idea is good enough, the Guardian will take it. We had the Guardian hundreds and hundreds of times for different clients. In fact, we had BBC covered so many times that BBC contacted us and asked if we could do campaigns for them. They didn't need SEO, but they just wanted us to come up with ideas. So we did like 5 ideas for BBC Future that we did over that 2018, I think it was. And so I think that kind of mindset, and this is again why it's about people. It is you have to hire people that don't think it's impossible, because I think the SEO industry, I left you guys for a few years and everyone's like, oh no, it's not possible anymore. I'm like, I'm telling you, that hasn't changed, but everyone's convinced that it is. But I would much rather thinking of an idea that the Guardian will not say no to. The challenge with the publishing world is that their metric has changed so much in the last 2 decades. Even in the last decade, it has changed enormously. They are mostly just measured on engagement. Engagement meaning, comments, shares, views. And so that is the most important thing that they need. And which is why, apart from The Guardian, most papers are writing clickbaity kind of headlines and stuff. But because of that, it means that they need content all the time. They need ideas. They need things that haven't been written about. They need uniqueness, right? So you just need to come up with an idea that not 50 other people have thought of. And that doesn't mean that it has to be completely new. It just needs to be different enough and interesting enough to get the coverage. Like we had Go Compare as a client, which is a insurance kind of like aggregator. So car insurance was the big term. We got them coverage, loads of coverage in Australia randomly, and we were like, "What the hell is going on here?" And they ended up printing. So it was about electric cars and the charging points. You know how little, few charging points there are, although they're selling loads of electric cars. And Australia was at the very bottom. They ended up printing out our campaign and bringing it up in the Senate in Australia. So you just need to think of the idea that is interesting, surprising, good enough that will get the coverage. But can we please not just focus on citations or, blogs, or like I can see an increase in the whole like selling links and stuff again. I'm like, come on.
Oh yeah, it's gonna back up a lot. Take me maybe through the process that you used to do from ideation, contacting the papers, and maybe even tracking or finding out if it was published. Maybe because I'd love to understand how that works, and probably the audience as well. Like just to understand how the process is, how you've done that, and what to expect. Like also waiting times, because sometimes you have to wait quite a long time till it gets published, right?
Yeah, well, not usually. It's more the problem with outreach. So I had a conference called Outreach. So when I got really interested in this bit, I decided we were still calling it link development, or we called it content marketing for hot minutes in 2015. And I rebranded it to Outreach because it was outreaching with content, and that wasn't already associated with something. And so I had this conference, Outreach conference, about exactly the process of what we were doing. But it's not that difficult. So the idea is all of it. And Verve didn't look like an SEO agency typically, because we had designers, developers, data, copywriters. It looked like a creative agency. So our slogan was, we think like a 50s ad exec and we execute like a geek. And so it is all about the idea and the execution of the campaign. That's the most important bit. The outreach bit is almost like the easiest bit, is getting it out there. And we were always very, we used for all the years at Verve, we used BuzzStream, which I think is the better platform for actually project managing all of the outreach. And then I think the biggest mistake people do for outreach is that they will contact one person at one paper.
Yeah.
No, contact loads of them. They're working on totally different desks. Like, don't be picky. They're not going to be mad that you also it's their problem if they don't pick up fast enough. And also don't contact them just once. And so with BuzzStream, you would see whether they open it. So then when they've opened it twice, maybe you'll go back to them. But it all depends on the person doing outreach. And there's no one right way. So I would always let people do it the way that worked for them. Some people write long emails with details of like, this is the idea, here's the link, and some people just write a short email. And some outreach people would send, 200 emails in a week, and another one would send 50, but they will get the same amount of links.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Making it about process is not the thing. Like it's more attitude. It's 90% attitude, 10% process. And this is why I didn't hire anyone with previous experience, because people that have previously done digital PR, whatever, they say, that's not possible. I'm like, well, go somewhere else then. And so most people that worked at Verve came straight from university or worked in totally different industries, but they had that thing that I just knew was the ability to keep going, even if someone said no, and it wouldn't dishearten them. So if anything, I would say, if you want to be good at this, hire people with the stretch, people that have been through something, because people that have been stretched, like, rubber bands, when you stretch them, they become bigger. And then, when you just buy them, they're tiny. The problem with these bands, if you expect them to be here, they just break. But people that have had that have had some shit happen in their life, they won't go boo-hoo if someone was rude to me from The Guardian. They would just keep going.
Amazing. Lisa, I can't wait to hear you at SMX Advanced. Where can people reach out in the meantime?
You can go to ekte-vision.com, on LinkedIn, Lisa Paasche. Looks like it says Paasche. I've given up on my name. and also Ekte Lisa on Instagram. Very happy to chat. Really looking forward to coming back to Germany. I love the SMX crew. It's kind of like where I was born in the speaking world.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to it.
100%. And we should definitely do another podcast focusing on some other topics that we discussed, and we'll figure that out and then sequence that in. But that was amazing talking to you, and thank you for the insights on how the outreach works, because I think that is very valuable for everybody out there, because I think there's a false perspective on this. And I know you're going to go deep on that in SMX Advanced as well.
Yeah.
So thank you, Lisa, for being here. Thank you for being here. And I can only say, everybody who loved this, obviously, give us a like, give us a subscribe. You know how to do this. Helps the algorithms, all these nasty AI-powered algorithms. They need the signals to show you this amazing content again when we have amazing other speakers and guests here. And then I can only say thank you for watching, and we'd love to see you again when we're back here with Marketing Meets Technology and the SMX specials. Thank you so much.
Bye.